Well, good morning, Faith Church. For devotions today, we're looking at the last chapter of Exodus chapter 40. This chapter always reminds me of a sermon that I listen to probably once a year. It's a great reminder for me. It's one that actually my dad preached, and it's on the fear of God. And it's just I need to be reminded of that. And he ends it with this chapter. And so I'm just going to listen to a snippet of that this morning. So may God bless you as you listen.
The very last chapter of Exodus, Moses has built God a tabernacle for the desert. And if you go back and read all the detail of that tabernacle, it was artistry. It was detail, from the shape and what color wood and what type of wood and the overlay and the pomegranates and the tassels on the garments and the loops on the curtains and how many and the poles and the distances, the detail and the measurements. When God tells us, lays out something for us, are we that interested in the detail of it? What do I have to do, Lord? What do you want? Because there's no fear of God. The fear of God, if you understand it, is the greatest honor you can give Him. And Moses got it, and that's why I think this is the highlight of what you depict right here in that last chapter. And let me just highlight it down for you. In verse 16, thus Moses did according to all. Check the word all. Every detail. Are you done, Lord? Anything left out? Is that one done? Okay, on to the next thing. Down to verse 19. And he spread out the tent over the tabernacle and put the covering on top of it, as the Lord had commanded. And verse 21. And he brought the ark into the tabernacle, and bring up the veil and the covering and the partition, the ark of the testimony. And I highlighted these words, as the Lord had commanded. And he put the table in the tabernacle, in the meeting, in the north side of the tabernacle, outside of the veil. And he set the bread in order upon it, just as the Lord had commanded. And in verse 25, and he lit up the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he put the gold on the altar, the tabernacle, and the meeting in the front of the veil. And he burned the sweet incense in it, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And he hung up the screen of the door in the tabernacle. Verse 29, he put on the altar the burnt offering before the door in the tabernacle of the offering, over the grain offering, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Down to verse 32. Whenever he went into the tabernacle of the meeting, and when they that came near the altar, they washed, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And then he raised up the court around the tabernacle and the altar, and hung it up in the screen of the court gate. And so Moses finished the work. I love the way he words that. Every detail was as the Lord had commanded Moses. Right to completion. Nothing left to do. Nothing more could do. Totally in honor of God, in honor of who he was doing it for. And then the last verse 33. And so Moses finished the work. And the main point in that was not just, kudos to Moses, good for him. No, because the next section, next few verses, give the result that we miss in our lives, in our churches, in our work, in everything we do. Why the world doesn't look on and go, what's happening there? Because we don't finish. Because we're not attention to detail. We don't care if we're done or whatever. We'll just wait and see if he's happy or not. But as Moses did all as the Lord had commanded and finished, it says, then the cloud covered the temple of the meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the temple. And Moses was not able to enter into the tabernacle of meeting because the cloud rested above it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. He filled it. We want our churches full of the work of the Lord, the glory of the Lord. We need to fear the Lord. And then that's up to each of us individually to go, Lord, have I lost it? Do I need it back? Is there something that doesn't make a difference in my life? Is that it? Am I contaminated? Bring back the fear, God. The greatest thing I can do for you is to fear you in a sense that honors you above everything. Honors you above everything. That the world would look on and go, man, whatever's happened. You realize that whole story about taking the people out of Egypt and bringing them into the promised land. All the other nations around had humans leading them. Frail, dictator humans and false gods. And among all of that, God took one guy to bring him into a place and put him in a country with no president. An invisible president. Wow, what a spectacle. And it was to stand out on the planet that all the nations with human leaders would go, what's with those people with nobody leading them? He's invisible. And man, is he great. And look what he does. Who is like a nation that has somebody so amazing among them that they talk to and he talks back and leads them and guides them and gives them wisdom and knowledge and so on? Well, hey, folks, we live in a planet with governments and so on. We have to live under all that. But we were still meant to portray the same thing to our neighbors. There's somebody greater I'm living for. And there's some greater purpose. And I owe them everything. And I'm committed.